relations between Vietnam and China and have been back and forth for thousands of years. Despite their sinispheric and socialist background, centuries of conquest by modern China's imperial predecessor have given Vietnam a suspicion of the Chinese government from 2000 to 2020 period. Although China assisted North Vietnam during the Vietnam War, relations between the two nations soured following Vietnam's reunification in 1975. China invaded Vietnam in 1979, known as the Sino-Vietnamese War. Cross-border raids and skirmishes ensued, in which China and Vietnam fought a prolonged border war from 1979 to 1990, but have since worked to improve their diplomatic and economic ties. However, the two countries remain in dispute over territorial issues in the South China Sea. China and Vietnam share a 1,281 km border that has historically been a source of conflict. A 2014 survey conducted by the Pew Research Center showed 84% of Vietnamese were concerned that territorial disputes will lead to military conflict. However, high-level visits has asked for restraint, shared sovereignty of territory, and present as well as future stability. China and Vietnam had contact since the Chinese Warring States period and the Vietnamese Xiao Dynasty in the 3rd century BC. As noted in the 15th century Vietnamese historical record Die Viet Su Ki Ton Thu. Between the 1st century BC and the 15th century AD, Vietnam was subject to 4 separate periods of imperial Chinese domination, although it successfully asserted a degree of independence after the Battle of Bac Dang in 938 AD. According to the old Vietnamese historical records Die Viet Su Ki Ton Thu and Cam Din Viet Su, Tong Ging Kong Mook, and Dong Wong was a prince of the Chinese state of Shu, sent by his father first to explore what are now the southern Chinese provinces of Guangxi and Yunnan and then to move their people to what is now northern Vietnam during the invasion of the Qian Dynasty. Some modern Vietnamese scholars believe that Thuc Phan came upon O Viet, which is now northernmost Vietnam, western Guangdong, and southern Guangxi province, with its capital in what is today Cao Bang province. After assembling an army, he defeated King Hung Wong XVIII, the last ruler of the Hong Bang dynasty, in 258 BC. He proclaimed himself and Dong Wong, renamed his newly acquired state from Van Lang to O Lac and established the new capital at Phong K, where he tried to build Ko Loa Citadel, the spiral fortress approximately 10 miles north of his new capital. Ha Chinese migration into Vietnam has been dated back to the era of the 2nd century BC, when Qin Shi Huang first placed northern Vietnam under Chinese rule. Chinese soldiers and fugitives from central China have migrated en masse into northern Vietnam since then and introduced Chinese influences into Vietnamese culture. The Chinese military leader Xiao Tuo founded the Xiao Dynasty, which ruled Nanyue in southern China and northern Vietnam. The Qin governor of Canton advised Xiao to found his own independent kingdom since the area was remote, and there were many Chinese settlers in the area. The Chinese prefect of Jiaoxi, Xiexi, ruled Vietnam as an autonomous warlord and was posthumously defied by later Vietnamese emperors. Xiexi was the leader of the elite ruling class of Ha Chinese families that immigrated to Vietnam and played a major role in developing Vietnam's culture. After Vietnam regained its independence, a series of wars between China and Vietnam occurred in which Vietnam, at its peak, invaded China once, during the Lai Song War, which the Lai army raided into China and even occupied what is now Guangxi and Guangdong. In China, that would be the major factor for the later conflict between China and Vietnam. The Ming dynasty invaded Vietnam and occupied it in what would be the 4th millennium, only to be defeated by the army of rebel leader Le Loi, who later founded the later Le dynasty in Vietnam. The Qing dynasty had also attempted to conquer Vietnam but was defeated by Emperor Quang Trung at 1789. In 1884, during Vietnam's Nguyen dynasty, the Qing dynasty and France fought the Sino-French War, which ended in a Chinese defeat. The Treaty of Shunsan recognized French dominance in Vietnam and Indochina, spelling the end of formal Chinese influence on Vietnam and the beginning of Vietnam's French colonial period. Both China and Vietnam faced invasion and occupation by Imperial Japan during World War II, and Vietnam languished under the rule of Vichy France. In the Chinese provinces of Guangxi and Guangdong, Vietnamese revolutionaries, led by Phan Boi Chau, had arranged alliances with the Chinese nationalists, the Kuomintang, before the war by marrying Vietnamese women to Chinese officers. Their children were at an advantage since they could speak both languages, and so they worked as agents for the revolutionaries, spreading their ideologies across borders. The intermarriage between Chinese and